Okay.
All right.
This game is called Wildermyth.
All right. Now I got a question.
Yes.
How come the guy on the far right looks like an old guy Shaggy Rogers?
Because a lot of characters are randomly generated.
I'm glad everyone's faces are just like happy faces.
A lot of them
Sort
kind
of.
Really simple.
Sometimes
a lot
they
of
have
them kind of
frowny
look like
faces.
Scooby-Doo characters.
No, that's true.
Like there's Daphne.
See, in the top left corner it says their name, and then under that it says like the goofish romantic. All of the characters have like random personality stats, and depending on those personalities, you'll get different events.
Like Pokemon.
And these characters
Bert Slimson?
Yes.
Please tell me that the names are randomly generated
They
too,
are.
and you didn't name them yourself. Oh god, yeah.
Good.
I haven't named a single character. I bet you can. In fact, I think you can customize any of the characters whenever you want. But these are all these are all random.
Yeah, I mean, you got Bert Slimson. Why would you change
already
that guy's
won,
name?
yeah.
So these characters, this is in the free mode. There's like 2 story modes and then 2 free modes. This is the longer free mode. This is a 5-chapter one.
Okay.
The
free mode is like a randomly generated kind of story mode?
They're all randomly generated to some extent, but the story modes have like more specific story events, where these ones are just a bunch of random story events, like procedural story events.
I see.
So like you see this little comic thing, it'll sort of like there are a set number of these. These are like personal ones, but they'll give you choices that'll affect different things in different ways. Sometimes your characters, it's about your characters' relationships with each other. Other times, like to the extent where some of them can be like dating and stuff.
Oh, so you could put a whole bunch of freaking cartoon characters in here and act out your shipping fantasies.
Probably.
Yeah.
Sometimes they affect the combat you're about to go into. Sometimes they can give you random events that change your character. Like, you saw one character has like a firearm in the bottom left corner. That was because she was a romantic character and happened to like find an event that triggered off of her romanticism. And it gave her like, because she's passionate in her personality, she became like fiery, I guess.
Nice.
Alright.
So this is like the combat system, which is actually also really fun. And the mages are like some of the most interesting like design that I've seen in a game in a long time. The way that the mages work is they infuse their power into random objects all over the place, and they can cast spells off of the object.
Oh, neat.
So like now that there's enemies, I'll probably show how it's done, but look, see, I go here. Oh, actually, I might just shoot fire at him. I don't remember.
Yeah, why? So, like, the mage's, like, magic is wild? Or, like, what's the lore behind that? Like, their magic kind of jumps through everything and they...
I don't know quite what the, I don't think there's a story reason for why it works that way.
It just does.
It just works that way. But
it's just like, this is how magic works.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the fire thing that she cast, that was because of her arm. That actually wasn't magic, technically.
Oh, her arm is just on fire.
Her arm is on fire because of that event.
Right.
I actually played a different character where, like, I had a melee character who got that. So he would run up, shoot fire at people, and then, like, be also able to also attack. See, here I'm infusing my power into this rock, and then from that I get Discus, which shoots a missile from the rock into the dude.
Interesting.
And then you could do things like possess fire, and then shoot the fire all over the place, and then, like, when fire passes an enemy, it hurts them. So you can just kill a bunch of dudes based on, like, where you're moving your fire. And,
that's pretty cool.
And that's, like, that is like, the damage on that is determined by, like, your items and your stats for like, your mystic. So, this game takes place over a number of years. Like, your characters have travel time between places, and eventually they'll age and get older, and some of them will, like, retire and stuff.
Is it kind of like a Dungeons and Dragons hex crawl almost?
A little bit. it's like I think it is heavily inspired by Dungeons and Dragons, because this looks like playing with tiles in a Dungeons and Dragons thing.
Right.
And all of the characters are flat, standy guys.
Crawl is where you have this big, like, overworld map, and you have your party move around the overworld map as though that were a game in and of itself.
Right.
And then when they go to locations, you know, they get more deeper into the locations for combat and roleplay and stuff like that. And that's what this seems like this is.
Yeah, it has like overworld events and like mechanics in terms of it has like overworld strategy where you're moving your characters around and you're determining who's in what groups, and then you're clearing enemies from like tiles, and then you'll go in and actually assault a place to like take it over.
Okay.
And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm assaulting a place so that I can take full control of this tile.
So what happens when you take it over?
The purpose of this game is, like, the purpose of what your characters are doing is trying to take over all of the places where the bad guys have taken over, so that you can bring peace to the area. So, like, the whole thing... Like, basically the whole thing is in service of like trying to stop, you know, the bad guys from taking over. And then when you end a chapter, then time progresses a number of years. So like you killed everything in this chapter, so that you've brought peace to the land for like 20 years or something.
Oh, okay.
And based on how well you've done in the like overworld strategy thing is how long you'll get like peace and how much time will progress between chapters.
Ah, okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And you want more time to pass in between chapters because...
Well, you want to win the chapter. At the end of the chapter, time just progresses. It's not necessarily like you want to. But as a result of that, characters will age, some characters will retire. If one of your character falls in combat too, like you saw how that one guy had a peg leg? He lost in combat and died, essentially, in combat. And when he dies, you have a number of choices. You can have him retreat, and you get to keep your guy, but he'll have some sort of, like, wound or whatever that he'll have to heal and then replace. Or...
was that little comic thing that just popped up there a second ago, was that, like, your characters talking to each other?
Yes.
Yeah,
like I said,
at the beginning of the...
Yeah, all of the characters are constantly talking to each other. They're making comments about things. Here's the end of the chapter summary.
It's neat, especially in like the quote-unquote sandbox mode or like free mode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And based on the different tiles you had captured, oh, and this is like story vignettes about like what all the characters are doing in the Years of Peace. So some characters are like setting up shrines for the spirits. Others are like just have cats, and so these don't super matter to what the overall story is, but like this is like.
But it's a little story about.
Yeah, they're little interesting things.
That's wonderful. That sounds great.
And some of them are influenced by what happened. Like that last one, that one was included because I didn't completely repair one of the places that I left. So in the time of peace, they fixed it. So this character is the child of another character that I have. It's her daughter.
Okay.
So now this is going to be a character that I can take with me now.
Good.
So like randomly you'll additionally get characters, especially from romantics. For some reason, those romantics always end up having children.
Can't imagine why. Now, can you like get characters from other sources? Or do they just generally show up when you progress time?
You'll also get recruitment events where you can go there and you'll recruit a person. And so one of the cool things about that is you can just generate like a random person and it's like a normal person, or you can spend more of your like legacy points to recruit a legacy character. When you completely win a thing, it'll promote all of the characters you've gotten to the end to legacy heroes. So later on, when you recruit a legacy hero, you can recruit basically a younger version of that same character who has some traits associated with the character that existed in a previous game.
Oh, that's neat.
So if I did bother to like name these characters, I could have Rugna, and then he could get to the end of a thing, and like assuming he lives, because characters can also die, but assuming he lives all the way to the end, I can choose to promote him as a character, and then in a future game when I do a recruitment event, I could choose to bring a younger Rugna with me again.
Excellent.
It's just like
even though he'll probably die.
This almost sounds like a sandboxy Fire Emblem.
Yeah, it's like a weird mixture between like Dungeons and Dragons and Fire Emblem. I love it.
It sounds great.
This game.
Yeah, it does seem pretty nifty.
So there are definitely a finite number of events. I've seen a number of them multiple times. Like that one with the fire. I've seen that every game that I've played so far.
Right.
Right.
So,
but some people find that fun. They're like, "Oh, it's this event. Now my character will."
Yeah.
You know.
I'm not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that there are a finite number of events. But one of the this game is coming out into early access, I believe. So I think they're probably just going to add a bunch of that. And from the like pre-release patch notes that I've seen, one of their first priorities is to getting Steam Workshop integration.
Oh hell!
On the main page, there's just a huge built-in editor that you can just like put new all sorts of new stuff into it. You can create new character stuff. You can create enemy assets. You can create those story vignettes. There's I don't know how good it is.
Has its built-in modding system.
Exactly.
That they want to Steam Workshop support.
Yeah, so, well, I don't know if the Steam Workshop support is there so that you can plug that stuff in easier, or if they'll need that to add more assets to the editor or what, but, and I don't know how good the documentation is yet, because but I opened the editor for a second and was like, oh my god, this looks pretty extensive because I can't really tell what's happening in it, so...
Fair enough. I love editors like that.
Yeah.
Good old Heroes of Might and Magic and StarCraft. I mean, that's map editors.
And you were talking earlier about there only being like so many events. Based on what I'm seeing, this looks like an indie game, and it looks like at some point they could just add more.
No, yeah, like I said, it's coming out into early access, so I'm sure they intend to add more.
Oh, it's coming out into early access. Okay, then yeah.
See, the thing about this game is it's coming into early access, but it's so fun that I've been playing a ton of it, even as it is. Like I would pay full price for this game as it is.
So your heroes, they seem to be separated right now?
Yeah, because they this is the first like turn or whatever at the start of this chapter. They're like all separated.
Oh, okay, so normally you try to keep them together, though.
Yeah, well, actually, it depends, because I now have too many characters to fit in one party.
I see.
This was a random event that just popped up while they were traveling. And you see how they have, like, whiter hair. These characters have aged a bit. And these two characters are friends. Yeah. I didn't think I wanted to do this event, so often they give you like a choice to just wait a minute. Also, that never happened.
I'm noticing it has like a buy, like for a friend. This event is by Douglas Austin.
I'm pretty sure Douglas Austin is the
Kickstarter
the original creator, because so far everything has been by him.
Oh, okay.
But that space exists so that later on people can make their own stuff and do that.
Right, right.
I mean, I could see it to the point where, like, even they could even do something along the lines of Spore, where people could just create their own content like that, and it seeds into other people's games.
Yeah, I don't know if it does it automatically or if they plan to do it automatically, but at this point, I don't think it works that way. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's a little ambitious, but I could see it happening. Yeah.
So right now, you see that little plus, the orange plus guy over there in Greyboro? Or Greybow, or whatever. That is a recruitment event, but right now, I know that I don't have enough points to recruit a legacy character, so I'm just letting that sit there for now.
Gotcha.
Because I happen to know
Does
that
it give you a random legacy or random regular character? Or
No,
do you
basically-
get to, like, choose it from characters?
Yeah, you can either generate a random character and you can hit randomize as many times as you want, or you can go to legacy characters and then pick a specific legacy character that you want. And then they give you, based on how well you did in the previous one, like I think it like, so in a 3-chapter one you can promote a character with two skills. If you get to do a 5 one, you can promote a character with 3 skills. And then and then based on what skills they had are your options for what you can take with that legacy character.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I had a character, like a fighter, that had like a bunch of abilities, but she was the one that I chose as a level 2. Like the one that I decided to promote, and she came with two of the abilities that she had when she was like in my original game.
Oh,
There's some graphical glitching going on. That's just the recording. I didn't see that in the actual game.
Oh, interesting.
Like it seems sort of jumpy in this recording, but it's really not like that.
I kind of appreciate the like paper cutouts of everything. It's like we were saying, it does look a little bit like Dungeons and Dragons, but like less the gameplay and more so just that it looks like somebody's Dungeons and Dragons board that they built out of paper mache or paper craft.
And it's really
Like,
interesting
it's
to
pretty
me too, because it looks like it was a thing that someone, like, obviously part of this was they did it for like design reasons, but also part of it is it just made more sense to do it this way so that the game was like easier to develop, because they have so many different pieces. So if you only have one plane of the thing, then it's not as hard to develop stuff for. But like they did such a good job of making it make sense thematically that like you don't even care that everything is flat, because it just makes sense that
that's
everything's
just
flat.
the art style.
Yeah. It's like such a good way to have done it.
Oh god, are you infusing magic into that basket full of spears?
Yeah.
It's amazing. So, one thing I noticed is that when it was talking about the monsters and stuff, it kept talking about like cards, and they've lost cards or they've gained these cards or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm noticing your characters don't have cards, they just have abilities. So what's this cards thing that the monsters have?
So the cards is just a way to represent the monsters getting stronger.
Okay.
Basically, those cards are pools of monsters that will exist in the game, or a way to represent how they're getting stronger. So like one card will have darts on them, those like bow guys.
Okay.
And you won't see the bow guys at all until the bow card is in the game, like in the monster's deck.
Okay.
Every now and then there'll be an event that pops up that says the enemies are getting stronger. Here are the things, and then you can spend legacy points.
Your game.
And then you can spend legacy points to decide, no, I hate darts. Let's not have darts in my game yet. You know?
Oh, thank goodness.
So like sometimes you can mitigate which monsters show up. Other times it's like sometimes when you finish an assault, it'll just be like, yeah, this card's going in. You know what I mean? So you have some control over it, and you can push things off a little bit, but usually it's like eventually all the enemies will show up.
So now this guy just said he is now a blue horn warrior? Is that separate? Is that different from a normal warrior?
A blue horn warrior is just like a level 4 warrior.
Oh, okay. It's not like prestige class branches or anything. It's
no.
Just... Okay.
And
are there a decent number of classes?
Yeah, there's 3 classes, but there's a lot of different skills in each one. So here I'm doing the legacy. I could have chosen the recruit, but these are the characters I had at the end of my last game.
Krarwaldor Wandergoth.
Yeah.
The man with the wolf's head. Truly, there is one choice.
Is that like a dog person, or is it?
So
a guy with a.
I actually get this event in this video later, but basically you come across a shrine where the wolf god starts talking to you, and you can choose to essentially commune with the wolf god, and then it just turns you into a wolf man.
I want to be a wolf man. Okay, well that's interesting though.
So this is the character I chose, Kelrel.
Uh-huh.
She was one of my favorite characters from the previous one.
She looks like a young teenager Sonya.
they de-aged her, like I said. One interesting thing about the wolf head thing too is so your characters will lose limbs sometimes. And like Kelrel, for instance, had a peg leg because she had lost a battle once. Later on, she gets the wolf head thing, and it turns her leg into a wolf leg. So based on whatever thing you have, it'll affect like your character. So another character I have started growing tree stuff, because she had like a splinter that turned her into a tree person. And then later
like
her arm gets cut off, and she grows a tree arm.
Yeah, like Adventure Time.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so you only get so many traits because you don't level up super quick. You only level up to like maybe 3 or 4, maybe 5 before you retire. Often. And your different traits will affect you, like based on your class and like what things have happened to you. You might increase your retirement age, but by and large, you usually retire about 45. That's like the base level.
But can you find Juan Ponce de Leon's Fountain of Youth and continue to adventure forever?
I mean, it's very possible. I have not seen that event, but I would not be surprised if something like that existed. And I would not be surprised if it didn't exist, someone decided to make that. I assume that like I assume most of the stats are editable, and that is a stat that's like listed, and your retirement age is listed also, so you could make it so that you just got older, or you could make it so that, you know, your character de-aged, like it's possible. And aging,
age -1.
And aging is like, it gives you some benefits and some negatives, so it's not like all good or all bad either.
Right.
Like older characters are better at like magic, for instance. And mages on their own like retire like 20 years later, just because I guess old mages make sense, right?
Right.
Ori, this character I have now, this is also a character that I have played before, which was why she has a special trait that lets her not end her turn when she attacks, so she can attack multiple times.
That's really fucking good.
Yeah. This other character, Thel, I gave her the ability Vigilance, which lets her do an unlimited number of reaction attacks.
She doesn't tap when she blocks, right?
Pretty much. Well, actually, yes. That's funny. That is like literally the magic
that's exactly what it is, huh?
Yeah. This guy has through shot, so if I position myself right, I might be able to shoot both of them with one attack. I don't, but
you didn't seem to even try, but
maybe I didn't.
I could see where you would be able to do that. Okay.
Because I don't want Thel to end her turn, I attack with Ori instead so that I can keep moving. Because this is an ambush, like an ambush event. If you're in a party of 3 or less, you can be ambushed while traveling.
Okay.
And on ambush maps, one of the ways to win is just to reach the end of the map in that blue zone. And then you escape the map.
Do you get full experience, or is experience kind of per kills?
I think experience is per kill. Maybe during events and stuff too. Well, definitely during events and stuff too. I don't know if ambush, like running away, is any different than like winning, but you probably get more just from killing things. But experience moves really slow in this game, so like, and it's not super surfaced. Like, it doesn't tell you about it constantly, so I wouldn't even really worry about it.
I see.
So they were halfway done with patrolling this area, so I decided to just send them right back in there. So on tiles, they'll get those little thorn things on them. Oh, here's the Wolf God event.
Oh, good. What little thorn things are you talking about?
Well, you can't see it because the thing's in the way, but like, you see the right left of the little story pane. There's like thorns on that tile.
Oh yeah, okay.
When the thorns are on the tile, it makes the assault harder, and it makes it so you can be ambushed while traveling.
Okay.
Traveling through a zone that has the thorns on it.
Right.
But
they only show up on the enemy tiles?
Yeah, they only show up, well, they show up on tiles that are threatened. So usually, once you clear an area and everything bordering it is like good, then they're pretty much safe. But once like over there on the right, there's more thorns. Those areas next to it are in danger of becoming attacked. And over time, there's like an incursion thing. See, Carol Arkin now has a wolf head.
More like Carol Barkin.
Damn.
Yeah, pretty much. You could change your name too if you wanted. Like at any point, you can go in and change it.
Build a station, provide resources. Oh, okay. So there's kind of like a macro strategy thing for the end of each chapter.
So
but you only get 5 chapters.
Yeah. So the way that it works is like when you capture a tile, you can build resources on it, or if it's a town, like you just get resources when you capture it. Oh, and here's some of the traits that it shows. So she's wolf touched, and she has a wolf head, and she has a wolf leg because that leg had been cut off previously.
So what if you like lost all of your limbs and then did the wolf thing, and then you got your body cut off and did the wolf thing again? Could you just become a wolf?
I don't know. I'm not sure how many limbs you can lose before you die. Like, for good. So.
Oh, that's what you have a problem with? Not the fact that I said get your body cut off?
Hey man, I don't know about this game. Who knows?
You're like, I'm sure you could get your body cut off, but all 4 limbs might be pushing it.
Limb what? Well, body only counts as 1 limb. Limb removed, body limb.
Yeah, exactly. You could be walking around like a little fucking Rayman or something.
If all of your arms and legs are wolf legs and arms, then I'm sure that the body might just turn into a wolf body anyway. Who knows?
Yeah.
And actually, you know, it's very possible there's an event in there that's just like, oh, you're too much of a wolf. It's time to go back to the wild. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe you turn into a werewolf and like kill people. I don't know.
Maybe you turn into a regular wolf and just live life as a dog forever.
Who knows?
That's the fun.
This is an event this is like a pre-assault event. And then there's like you see that 21% or 40%? Those are like potential of being successful on that thing. And this one I'm not successful, so it gives me a penalty to the next combat. And this happens before basically every assault as well. And when you're like ambushed and stuff, sometimes it'll be like, it'll also give you a mini event, and it'll be like, what do you want to do to prepare for them attacking? So basically, there's a lot of these little story panes, and over time you'll like get attached to different characters who are doing different things. Like, and this Ori character was basically my fucking strongest character when I was playing the last campaign, or the last campaign's probably a good way to put it.
Yeah.
So I was like really excited when I was able to add her to my group because she was so good.
Right.
Corel as well, but to a lesser extent.
That's pretty cool. You can kind of like save. Now, legacy characters, that's all of the characters that get through to the end of a campaign?
Not
or you get to
exactly.
Choose
you get to choose which ones get to stay if you want. There's no like it's not a number of different ones. Like, you don't have a limit. Any character that is in your party at the end can become a legacy character. So you don't have to, like, oh, I really like this character, or this character and this character, and I can only pick one. You can pick all of them. The only thing that changes about that is if a character is relatively young at the end of the game, because you recruited them sort of recently, they won't be able to be promoted when you win. So they'll basically come in with worse stats than they would if you had taken them to, like, you'd had them for a long time.
I see.
And especially since they de-age him anyway. So, like, Ori was a better choice than like, this other mystic I had, for instance.
Right.
So there is some...
But if you played him in another game...
Right,
then
you could bring
get
him back.
promoted.
The only problem is, if you're gonna go through the trouble... I think it actually does cost less to take a character who was not promoted, though.
Okay.
So, like, if you did want to keep with that character, you could bring him, and it would just cost less than if you brought Ori, who has 3 abilities. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
And Theli there... Theli, which is kind of funny.
Yeah,
That's the daughter of Karel, I think. Or no, of Tarly. So that Tarly person with the crystal for an eye, that's her, like, younger daughter from the previous chapter. And you said how you see how at the end, like, under Tarly's name, it said this character will retire at the end of this chapter. So
yeah.
basically, it's like maybe you don't give her all the good stuff because she's gonna retire.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad it gives you a heads up on that one.
Yeah. Just because they wouldn't make it. I don't know what happens if they hit retirement age before the end of chapter. Because, like, if you see in, like, above the pause menu, it has, like, a big year thing. Like, that progresses as you're traveling around. So anyway, I've tried to explain a lot about this game.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot to digest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I absolutely loved this game. I really wanted to just go back and play it some more. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I have dreamed for a game like this. I love game. Part of what intrigues me about games with randomly generated components is that they basically are built for generating stories and generating attachments to characters, and, like, just from bits and pieces of what a character could be, you get, like, a sense of, oh, I like this character Ori. She, like, I've been through so much with this character. She's survived losing all of these battles and stuff. Like, you have attachments to them, and this is a game for generating all of those attachments that you have to different characters.
Yeah. It's exactly like RimWorld.
Yeah.
Yeah, RimWorld didn't do it for me, but
Fair
yes,
enough.
it is a similar thought for sure.
There's probably a more, like, direct association since you're in control of exactly what they do all the time.
Right, pretty much.
Yeah.
So and
this game looks really great.
And the game has multiple difficulty modes, and you can set them separately for the overworld and the actual combat.
Okay.
So if you want the overall strategy to be really difficult, you can set it to HP Lovecraft. And if you want the combat to be easy, you can set it to J.R. Rowling.
J.R. Rowling?
Or,
Damn.
J.K. Rowling?
J.K. Rowling, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't remember what her name.
damn.
So the difficulty levels are C.S. Lewis, J.K. Rowling, George R.R. Martin, and H.P. Lovecraft is the most difficult.
I see.
So that's a nice touch.
Just set the combat to J.K. Rowling, and what you can do is you can just change stuff about your characters in post. Just go onto Twitter and it'll change.
Okay, Thel, that's enough of that.
Okay.
All right. So thanks for joining us. I highly recommend this game. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. In the description, there's a link for our Discord channel, which we'd love for you to join. And remember, as always,
Stay beautiful.